Well, thank you, Rick. It is our honor and pleasure tonight to have the one and only Scott Cochran to be our guest on Crimson Chronicles podcast. Scott's a native of New Orleans, received from LSU a bachelor's degree in kinesiology in 2001 and a master's in sports management in 2003. He was an assistant strength coach for LSU in 3 and 4, where the Tigers won the BCS National Championship in '03. Then he went on to the NBA's New Orleans Hornets as an assistant strength and conditioning coach for 3 seasons. Then, after Nick Saban was hired at Alabama in early 2007, Coach Cochran got the call from Coach Saban. And from 2007 to 2019, as strength and conditioning coach, Scott Cochran became a rock star to the Alabama nation. His famous "yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah"
There it is.
became commonplace. But Scott was more than a strength coach to our players. He became their mentor, their confidant, the guy to whom they could share their hearts, their off the field problems, and their lives. In 2024, as he says, a change of scenery. He joined the Georgia staff under his good friend Kirby Smart and served 3 seasons as special teams coordinator. He was part of 2 college football playoff national championship teams in 2021 and 2022. Setbacks are a part of life. And on today's Crimson Chronicles podcast, Scott is allowing us to peek into his backs. With us today from Livingston, Alabama, where he is the head coach of the University of West Alabama Tigers, we welcome uh, 8-time national champion Scott Cochran, and also a new author of the book Skull Session, written
There we
with
go.
Ivan Maisel,
Let's
coming
go.
out on August the 19th. So, Scott, man, it's great to have you tonight.
Man, it's great to be here. Appreciate y'all having me. Man, what a cool introduction. I mean, come on, we went through my whole thing. I mean, what do I have left to say?
Well, the
I
one
guess-
thing you say is that Tommy is obviously not a homeboy because he added like 3 syllables to New Orleans or whatever he was saying, man.
I just have to let it ride, though. You just have to let it ride. Let it ride. They knew how easy it was to say. They'd never mess it up.
I know,
So,
man. You just got to make it a growl.
How do you say it? Okay, you New Orleans guys.
New
How do you
Orleans.
say it?
New
Just
Orleans.
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Man,
New
just-
Orleans.
It's like all
Okay.
together. Not Nolans. Don't say that. That's when you really know you're a tourist. Like it's that's it.
Okay.
All right. Well, Scott, man, thanks for being here. We're glad to
Yeah.
we're glad to
else?
have you. And you were the emotional heartbeat of Alabama football for over a decade. What do you think it was that made your voice and your energy so essential to the program's identity?
I think, I was with the players a lot. So I was able to take their energy and kind of let people see kind of a peek into different things that you wouldn't normally see. And so I believe that I was just the in-between, right?
All right, God, we're going to count up your national championships.
Oh, here we go.
You were a part of 1 national championship at LSU,
Go
5
Tigers.
yes, 5 national championships at Alabama,
Roll Tide.
and 2 at Georgia.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Okay.
Now it's just Go
what's the-
Tigers.
Yeah, the West Alabama Tigers.
That's right.
That's right.
I think I need to change them. I think I need to change them to the Red Tigers because I think
Okay.
when I say Go Tigers, people get a little worried that I'm a bull eater, and I'm not. It's Alabama, baby, not Auburn Tigers. West
There you go.
Alabama.
Okay. All right. So, what stands out most to you when you look back at all those championship runs? Not just the wins, but the grind behind them. What did it take to get to those?
Well, I think it's pretty. It's not bad when you work for Nick Saban for 18 years. You learn attention to detail. You learn that the little things matter. And it's from the beginning to the end. It's from the beginning of spring ball in January, where you have the guys, basically, we would walk off the bus from a national championship game, and I would walk into the weight room, and I'd have all these mid-years. So I'd have guys that freshmen that just got there in January. And most of the time we had anywhere, I think the lowest number we ever had was 10. And I think the max was 18. So I had right then and there, right when I stepped foot off that, a lot of people think, oh, national championship, get to celebrate. Literally, you get about 24 hours because by the time you get back to Tuscaloosa, those kids are waiting for you and they're nervous, scared, and they want to find out, what does it take to be on this football team? What does it take to be a part of the Bama way, right? And so teaching them from day one, right? And getting them from the start. And then the coaches come back and then they go recruit. And then we have the fourth quarter program, and the fourth quarter program takes them to a mental and physical grind to find out who they are, right? We find out who they are, but they get to find out who they are as a man, which is awesome to see, because one year you have a guy that can't pass one of the sprints, can't make the sprints at all. And then a year later, he's flying through it. It's all turned on. It's his year to shine. And he's acting like the guys that have been there for a while, and then you get into spring ball. Then you got summertime, and summertime, the coaches are gone. So it's just me with the players again for 8 weeks. And it's another form of the fourth quarter program in that crazy heat. And then we start camp. So I'm always preparing them. Then you have camp. You got the freshmen walk in the door, and they're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger than they've ever been. By the way, you're going to watch this year. Hey, I know you've never watched football before, but you're going to watch this year. Somebody's going to play the position you think somebody's going to play that. And now, who are they going to turn to, right? Are they going to turn to their position coach? Their position coach is watching film. He's taking care of the first team, right? He's not worried about the guy down the line. Like, go work out or something. Go see Cochran, right? Go see Cochran. He'll get your head right. Right. So they'll come to me, and that's where I got to spend all the time. Right. So in season, it was a lot of babysitting, right? A lot of talking to mamas at night to say, hey, mama, be a mama right now. I don't need you to be a coach. Your son's doing everything he's supposed to do, and you should be proud of him and love him. I know he's calling, saying, and crying and complaining, and things are hard, but he's supposed to go through this moment and this time, and it'll pass. But the guy in front of him is probably a first rounder, so he's in good hands.
So Scott, the question, you probably answered this question 1,000 times, but what was your relationship like with Coach Saban over the years? And how did that partnership with him evolve from when you started to when you stepped away after the 2019 season?
When I first started with him, I was an assistant at LSU. And so I wasn't in a direct line of fire a lot. I was in it a little bit because I helped with special teams. I helped a little bit on offense. So I was in a little bit of the fire, but not as much. But then when I became a strength coach at Alabama, the first 2 years, he was teaching me how to do my job. And he was not patient, which is great for me. Kind of just tell me and let me go solve it, right? Tell me what the end result is. I'll find a way to get there. But I think at first, and I think this is the cool part about Coach, is that he is really good at developing coaches. He's done a heck of it. Obviously, you look at just go take a picture of the coach's picture in camp and go look every single year, because you got like 3 or 4 head coaches on every staff, all because he taught them how to be coaches. And so in the beginning, it was really hard, very difficult, trying to be on the same page as him. A lot of mistakes, a lot of getting my tail jumped. And then once I realized, okay, he's trying to get this result, I'm trying to get that result, let's do this. And then it became kind of like he came to me for things and I went to him for everything, right? But he came to me for, how are the players? Tell me about this player. I'm about to meet with this guy. Tell me, is he okay? Why is he missing class? Like, there's got to be something more to it. And I would have to tell him, like, hey, he's gone through this, this, and this. And so it was really, it was a team trying to work together, but that's how Coach and I got really, I would say, very close in that time.
Well, Coach, you've been credited with helping to kind of revolutionize the role of strength and conditioning in college football. I think you were National Strength Coach of the Year twice during your time at Alabama. What was your approach to motivating players beyond just the physical, beyond the inside the weight room?
I will tell you that I learned everything from Tommy Moffitt. He is now at Texas A&M. He was at LSU for 20 years. And he was my high school strength coach. That's who I worked for at LSU. And I learned everything from him. And I'm going to tell you the honest truth about this, which is really cool. That every morning I woke up, I wanted to beat his ass. That was my motivation. I mean, honestly, because I thought he was the best, right? And LSU had beaten us for the national championship in 2007, right? They were the team. And so I was like, you know what? Every morning, I'm not going to let him outwork me. And so that was my motivation to become and to outwork everyone, because I knew what he did. And I was like, you know what? I can do what he does, but I can take it to another level, right? And so for me, that was my motivation when I first started coaching, was I wanted to, beat the guy that taught me everything, who I thought was the best in the business, right? And I still do think is the best in the business. So that was my motivation. But then once you get around the players, right, you're around them at a time where you got this really strong base from home, right? Whether it's Christian based, whether it's a faith based, whether it's, a great family, or whether it's struggle and they don't have mom and dad, right? You have that foundation, and now they're left on their own. They got to learn how to wash their own clothes. They got to know that they should brush their teeth every day. That they need to wash their shoes once a week, right? Things like that, right? That none of these kids have ever had to do. And so you really have to, dig in deep to find out, okay, how can I help this young man succeed? Like, he's dreaming of going to the NFL, but he's too nervous to even take a snap, right? So we got to get the baby steps, and the teaching progression is just like the weight room. So it was fun.
As a follow-up to that, Scott, 2014, Carson Tinker and I had co-written his book, A Season to Remember, about the 2011 tornado and his losing his girlfriend and coming back from a gruesome leg injury and being on 2 national championship teams. And he always talked about how you were the rock for him. Not so much in the weight room, because he went through all kinds of therapy through the hospital and all, and through Jeff Allen, but just from an emotional standpoint, from a mental standpoint. And that's kind of what you're talking about, I think, is how you can take a guy like Carson and all these other players that have these problems, as I mentioned in the introduction, that you're their daddy away from home. You were their mama away from home. You took care of their problems, their to talk about goals and what's bothering them. And you were much more than the strength coach to them. And we admire you for that.
Yeah. Well, I always use the feel, felt, found. Like, I feel like God gives you 2 ears and a mouth for a reason, right? To listen, and so I would be the one that would actually listen, right? And I could explain to him, like, hey, I feel where you're coming from. I have felt that way before. I found that this way works, and I found that this way is really bad. So you don't have to learn from making mistakes. You can learn from the guys before you. I can tell you a story of a guy that's been through this, or I can tell you something personal that I've been through, and I can get you through this moment. Because in that moment, it may not be a big deal to most, but in that moment, that player is going through hell, and it's highlighted and it's awful and they can't move. And so it takes time, and it takes somebody to listen and say, hey, here's a good idea. Why don't we try doing this? Oh, you feel better now? Okay, let's try this now. Right. So yeah, man, it was fun. It was cool. It was, I talk about it all the time that the ones that suffered was my family. Cause I took care of the players a lot. And when I got home to my family, I was on the phone with other people's parents.
Well, Scott, I'm gonna take it just a little bit of a different direction for a second. But you mentioned Tommy Moffitt and talked about where you came from. But I know part of your story, knowing your brother. I've known Billy for 15 years, and he worked with me through an injury, and so knowing a little bit of your background, like part of your story is that you have two brothers that are incredibly successful physical therapists. They've made a huge dent in the Southeast, taking care of people and doing that. And you were headed at LSU to go right in the same direction and follow right in their footsteps. And your dad kind of took that time with you, right? And completely changed the trajectory of your life. Man, unpack that a little bit and how that affected all the stuff that you're talking about that you've done with players.
So back then you didn't have to have an undergrad to go to PT school. You needed 36 hours with a certain GPA. And if you get accepted, you get accepted. And I got accepted. I had done my 36 hours and I was ready to go. Literally looked at the money, and it was about $50,000 for a 2.5-year program. And so I was like, I'm going to take out this loan. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to be just like my brothers. My brothers are having a lot of success as physical therapists. And my dad said, no, you're not. Come on. I'm not. Like, why not? And he said, well, since you were 10 years old, you said you were going to coach and change people's lives. He goes, you've been telling me that since you were 10. And now all of a sudden you see money and you think that's the answer. And I'm like, yeah, but I'll be helping people. So it's the same thing. And he's like, no, it's not. He's like, you need to find out what your true passion is. And I think it's coaching. And I'm like, that's crazy. My mom is a teacher, been a teacher for 25 years in New Orleans. And she said, don't you dare be a broke, drunk high school coach. Lord have mercy. Like, what if I like it? Go. Dad's like, whoa. My dad said, just give it a year. And I said, okay. And so I went to University High, which is on LSU's campus. And I set up an interview with the coach and I said, hey, I'm going to come volunteer if you have a position. He's like, yeah, you come help. But you got to go through the interview process. I'm like, okay. So I'm set to go interview. I go get my sports coat, get my button down, get my whole deal. I'm ready, right? 19 years old. I got this. And I show up and I have to walk through the weight room to get to the coach's office. And the guys are working out. And I just was like, no, y'all are doing this wrong. I got to fix this. Like, y'all are not doing this right. Let's get to work. And sure enough, like, ties off, jackets on the ground, ties on a rack, and I'm bullets in the ammo. I'm coaching my butt off. And I knew right then, I was like, okay, this is why God put me on this earth. This is why God put me here, was to help young men achieve some things. And the head coach comes walking in like an hour later. He goes, I got some college kid, like some book is supposed to come interview with me. I guess he didn't. And I was like, whoa, that's me. I got caught up in here because nobody was coaching these kids. And he was like, well, you're hired. If you know what you're doing in here, you got it. And I was like, all right. And he was a Marine. So I was like, all right, let's go. So it was fun. That's how I figured out that I was supposed to be a coach.
Well, man, we talked so much about how you impacted players and about your philosophy about that. But Were there any particular players or maybe any moments that really deeply impacted you at Alabama?
Obviously you brought up Carson Tinker. When you go through something real like that, it has to affect you, Taylor Morton, was another one that, Taylor Morton's story is really cool, because, he lost his brother and then he's a walk-on at Alabama and he's sitting in my office and his head's down and he's like, I can't tell you this. I got something bad to tell you, coach. I don't know how to handle this. And he says, I have cancer. And I literally started laughing. Like, I couldn't help it. I literally was like, you gotta be joking. He's like, no. I said, well, there's nobody else in the world that can handle cancer better than you. Like, do you think God took you this far to leave you at the door now? Like, bro, this is your ministry. Like, this is going to be a huge, cool, awesome story. You're going to survive this. And I can't help but smile and laugh because I know God's got you favored and I know you're going to just explode and do awesome things. And so sure enough, he didn't play football that year and he beat cancer's butt and came back on the team. So it was an awesome deal. Awesome.
That's incredible. Well, you're listening to the Crimson Chronicles podcast. You're home for the untold stories of Alabama football. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Help us grow this community by sharing it with your fellow Crimson Tide friends. We're just so privileged to be hanging out tonight with Scott Cochran. And Tommy, keep us going, man. Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right, Scott, you made the difficult decision to step away from football in 2020 to focus on your mental health. Can you take us back to that moment? What was going on internally that led you to say, I need help?
It was the end of the 2023 season when I was at Georgia. We were about to play Florida State, and my wife grabbed me and said, I know you're struggling. I don't know if you've picked up, but I know you're struggling. You're either about to pick up or you already have. This can be our last game coaching at Georgia. And I had picked up, I had relapsed. And so I'm in active addiction. Like, my disease is flared up. And at that moment, I'm like, yeah, right. Get out of my face. We can never leave. The money, we make all this money. How do we just leave? That's not possible. And then in January, I just had enough. I couldn't outrun the disease again. I had gotten my 2-year chip and I was all excited about that. And I was supposed to be 2.5 years sober at the time, but I wasn't. I didn't make it past 2 years and 2 months. I remember the game. I remember the moment, and I remember picking up. And when my wife, saw it, I had been active for about a month, and she saw it. I mean, she probably saw it before then, but God. And then January came around, and it was like, you know what? If my wife's serious, then I can go get help again. Because the hardest thing to do is to ask for help. And I think, there's still people that believe that, you can beat this thing through mental toughness, or you can beat this thing with self-will. And I can tell you that didn't work for me. It just didn't work for me. I needed a village. I needed an army. I needed a recovery community to keep me where I am today. And so I stepped away from the game, and man, that was hard. That was really difficult. But, stepping away was very humbling because it was the second time, really, because I had to go to rehab for an extended time and missed the beginning of the 2021 season. And so it was a tough decision, but wow, thank God, man, God has showed up. When I say he showed up, he is showing up and showing out for me. And I shouldn't be here, In 2020, I overdosed. I shouldn't be here.
Can Can you take us back to
Yeah.
to your time in Alabama and what led to this point?
Yeah. So
Well,
the doctors in 2010, the doctors had tried everything to fix my migraines. I was getting these just awful headaches, and they were daily, and they were just very painful, right in my temple.
Mm.
And it was like a vice. Every time I yelled, it would like crank. Uh,
Mm.
and I would go dunk my head in the cold tub. I would try everything. Uh,
Mm.
and so the docs they did the scan, they did all the stuff, and they were like, let's try blood thinners. No. Let's try beta blockers. Nothing. Let's try Valium. Nothing. Um, and, and they said, okay, well, there's oxycodone. And they were like they were very, it was cool because I know the doctor very well, and he was very cautious. He was like, man, I don't want to write this for you, but I think it might work for people with chronic pain like this.
Mm.
And I was like, dude, you don't have to worry about addiction. Like, I'm cool. Like, I'm the head strength coach at Alabama. Like, I'm winning national championships, strength coach of the year. I got it all. Like, I'm not gonna get addicted to a pill. A pill? Come on, get out of my face. And it worked. He gives me the pill. My headache's gone. Like, what the heck? I can coach. Like, I can really coach now. Like, I don't have to like take deep breaths between every word because my head hurts so damn bad. I don't have to go in the corner in my office and put a cold rag on my head for 5 minutes between every single group just so I can do my job. You're telling me this pill fixes that, and I don't have pain in the morning when I wake up. I don't have pain all day. I can just coach my butt off. It was a miracle drug. Until 2015, I started snorting them. 2015, didn't have enough drug. I didn't have enough doctors to write me a script. So I had to go to the street.
Mm.
And so that by 2019, I was like, you know what? I got to stop. I got to change. I got to do something. And you can't just leave Coach Saban and be a strength coach somewhere. I'm sorry. Like, that's just crazy talk. You know what I mean? You got to do something to shake it up. And so I called Kirby and I said, hey, you want to hire me as your special teams coordinator? And he was like, you want to get out of the weight room? I said, yeah, let's go. And he's like, why? And I said, well, and this was my reason at the time. Strength coaches don't get vacation. I get 2 weeks off in May and my kids are in school. So I really don't get a break because summer is my in season. And he was like, oh man, that sucks. I'm like, yeah, it does. I was like, when you football coaches, y'all get spring break and y'all get 3 weeks off in July. Like, that's crazy. I want to try that. And he was like, well, that's a good enough reason for me. And he goes, and we'll help you with special teams. You know it enough because he'd seen the stuff I've been able to do, whatever. He's like, we'll help you figure out the scheme. And I was like, cool. So I thought outrunning the disease, it's just called outrunning the disease. I thought there were no drugs in Athens. You know? So needless to say, there's drugs there too. And so, but COVID hits with me in the Zoom world. So I'm Zooming with recruits, I'm Zooming with the staff, and my wife walks by the stairs. I was above the garage in like an office type area that we made an office. And she didn't hear me. And so she comes up the stairs and she sees me dead on the floor, tries to jump on my chest, thinks it's a stroke, not sure what's going on, calls the ambulance. I come to where I'm like, remember things 2 days later, because this was Good Friday, April 10th, 2020. It was Good Friday. So like Easter Sunday, I'm kind of coming to, and the doc's like, hey, that was a close call. You were calling. And, I'm just thinking, how do I get well? Right. Like, I'm not thinking I died. I had no idea. They know you were dead, but like you were gone. And so I went to rehab, and because it was COVID, I didn't tell anybody, I didn't want anybody to know. I went for 30 days, did all my Zoom stuff, and then I would do meetings all day. And So kind of hid it from everybody. I went back to Georgia when COVID lifted. And before the season even started, I was back using again. But this time I didn't have the docs because my docs were in Alabama and Mississippi. And when you go to rehab, they call those doctors and say, never write him a script again. Now I'm getting everything from the street. So for about a year and a half, I'm going, and it's all fentanyl, just fentanyl. So insane amount of intake all through my nose. And you know what? Like, it's a shameful, disgusting disease, but I'm not afraid to talk about it because I know how quickly you can get addicted to something. And I know that God's got me here for a reason. And because any one of those pills, any single one could have killed me. Any one of them could have just taken me out. And I'm here and I'm thriving. I'm walking in God's grace and mercy, and it's amazing.
It's awesome. Man, it's so good to hear, Scott. And I think it's, your story just reminds us that addiction often hides in plain sight, and especially in high performance environments, right? Like and talk about how just the struggle that it was to carry the weight of the struggle of everything that you were going through and still be the loudest, most energetic guy in the building.
Yeah. And that was the thing. It was that the pills let me be me in a way, right? The pills allowed me to yell and scream as loud as I wanted without having there's no repercussions because my head didn't hurt, right? Like I would get sore from yelling and running and doing my thing, but like I didn't have them crazy migraines anymore. So I was like, we had watched Hacksaw Ridge when it came out, and there was a scene where it was like, God, help me just get one more, right? Mm-hmm. And so like my motivation was like, help me get one more player to achieve his dreams and goals. Like, give me the 4 years with him so that I can help him achieve those things. So I was just able to grind, I didn't have, there was no filter. There was no stopping me, right? There was nothing to say, hey, you're going too hard today, right? It was like, okay, I can go harder than that. I can scream louder. I can do more than that because I have this addiction that nobody knows about, And honestly, at the time I thought no one would care. Everybody's very self-centered and everybody's focused on themselves, especially 18 to 22-year-olds. Like, we're just trying to get them to get in the right seat on the bus, right? Like, you get on the right bus. Now let's get you in the right seat so that we can go achieve things. So I don't want to say it was a performance enhancer for me, but it allowed me to do my job at a very high level without having like a hangover, so to speak. Like I never really had to deal with hangovers because I was already using the pills. It's awful. There wasn't a day off, because when you take a day off of those pills, you have withdrawals, and that's the worst feeling ever. So you just don't take a day off. So you're talking about from 2011 till I overdosed, there was not a day where I was like, I'm just not going to use today. It was like, I have to take something or I'm going to feel sick, as many times as I tried to quit and like, hey, this is the last bottle I'm going to have. And I've got 3 left. I'm going to hold off. I'm just going to try to half these, and it doesn't work. I tried. It worked for me. Yeah.
Scott, would it be safe to say that when you were laying on the floor and Sissy came up and found you, that was sort of the turning point?
Yeah.
That was the breakdown moment. That was the time that you knew you had to have some help. Was that it?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Part of getting better, in any circumstances, you got to find out if there's something you want to fix, right? So you have to acknowledge that you're an addict, right? You have to acknowledge there's a problem. And then you have to be willing to do whatever the steps necessary to fix that problem. And with the guys that I have on the team now, that's why I wrote the book, honestly, is because that's what a skull session's all about, is that little nudge, right? If you don't know how to write your goals, the skull session book will teach you, right? If you don't understand positive self-talk and how great that is for you, right? It teaches you in the book, because it's all the steps I needed for recovery, but it's also the things that I've been teaching players for the past 15 years on how to achieve, to get the championships, how to get this team to that. My addiction needs to be, people need to know about it. People need to know about recovery, and they need to know the steps to heal. And for somebody that's not in addiction and they just want to get better, that's what the book's for also. So that's why I wrote the book, because I was like, there's a lot of cool information, a lot of cool stories too, from my time at Alabama and at Georgia and LSU. So it's got some fun stories in it that just, Ivan Mizell is the one that wrote it. He's my ghostwriter, and he knows how to tell a story pretty good. So,
well, it's a pretty good story too.
Yeah.
Scott, I think, you talked about your wife but what about, the rest of your family, close relationships in your life? How did that factor into your journey toward healing and sobriety?
Yeah. The coolest thing. Yeah, I say the coolest thing. I don't know if this is cool or not, but after I stepped away from Georgia football, and basically put the helmet on the locker for a minute, put the whistle on the post for a minute, I got to spend some serious time with my kids. My daughter tears her ACL like a month after I leave Georgia. And who better to help her go through rehab than her dad?
Yeah.
So I got to know Savannah really well. I got to be with Bo his junior year, his football season, where he had a lot of ups and downs, and I got to be right by his side. And Lucy's my 14-year-old, and I got to be with her as she found volleyball. I got cool that year I had with my family. And it just gets better and better now, because I have a job where they know that, number one, my recovery and my relationship with God come first. And then my family comes second, then the football team. Before it was the players, football, then I'll get to my family. I don't know I'm Catholic. I don't know. I can say some Hail Marys, but now my relationship way different, because I'm walking with Jesus.
Yeah.
It's a different life. It's a lot more peace. It's not in your, like I used to be, I think Tommy Ford used to be afraid of me sometimes.
Yeah, I wasn't the only one. I want to talk. We need to get Savannah on here and talk about having Scott Cochran as her PT for
Really?
his ACL
Yes.
injury.
Really?
That's what I want to know. Golly, I cannot imagine.
She is awesome. She is so cool.
I had a question. What was the most surprising thing you learned about yourself during this recovery process?
Oh, that's a great question. It's just not one that people like to own, but I got to own it. I really care what people think of me. Like, I really care what people think of me. And I have to think about that often now in my recovery. I notice it. Like, when I walk into a room, I don't want to get just one, right? Everybody's like, oh, if you change one person's life, like, no, I really care that everybody in that room thinks that I'm cool or that I'm really good at my job. Like, that really matters to me. And so I have to watch it, I really do have to watch that, because that's the devil. Oh, because that's the devil 100%, that I can control how you feel about me, and why would it matter, but that is something I learned about myself, that I really, and you hear it all the time. I don't care about what anybody thinks about what like, yeah, sure. But like, I really did. And maybe it was because of recruiting. I don't know, but I really, like, when a recruit came through, I wanted to be the reason why they came to Alabama. You know what I mean? that was important. Like, I want to show him why I care so much.
Mm.
In any situation, that's how something I learned. There you go. There you go.
Okay, good.
Right.
So Scott, how's your perspective on coaching, leadership, and especially toughness changed since the beginning of your recovery journey?
I have more patience for him to get better.
Mm.
I'm not in a hurry up and rush leadership mode. Let's try to put some safety nets around those lessons. Let's try to put the bumpers up around the lessons that we're going to teach these kids, and they're going to make mistakes. And, I always heard, you can't lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Well, my method was drown their ass, right? That's what I always, that's so drown them then, because we got to win now, right? Like, we don't have a choice. Like, drown them. Like, we're going to drown that damn horse, right? Now I'm more of the marathon mindset, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So I think my leadership is more intentional. I think vocabulary is very important. I think the words that you tell young men, you never know what's going to stick, so you got to be very intentional. So I take my time now. I walk down and get them all, right?
Mm. One of my old professors that I met in New Orleans used to say, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink, but you can salt his oats.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
And
there's something to be said for that, just being patient and drawing him in. And well, man, as far as the tradition at Alabama of holding up four fingers in the fourth quarter, that was a long-standing tradition, right? Been around for decades, but dude, you took it to a completely different level. So two parts to this question. One, what did it mean? Explain just kind of for people, what did it mean to the fans, to the team, like that whole thing? And then second, like, how does that have any meaning today as a result of like where you've been and maybe being in the, the third quarter or the fourth quarter or whatever of, the game of life that God has you in?
Okay, so I have to go back to the first question, and this is how the best way I can explain it. The bear is the first one to do that, by the way, because I had to look that up. So the bear is the first one to do that. But you know what else is funny is that the first Mardi Gras was in Alabama, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Mobile.
But just like New Orleans, I'm just like New Orleans with the four. Like, we showed you how to really put them fours up. Like, we showed you what Mardi Gras really is in New Orleans,
Nothing but fair.
right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yes, that's right.
There you go.
Good
My
job.
Alabama people are going to hate me for that, but too bad. All right. But look, when you put the fours up and what it means to the players and the fans, what it means to the players is you remember when you had to put those fours up, when you were going through mat drills, when you were in 110-degree weather, when you were going through hell and you pushed through it. The person across from you did not do that. They did not do it like you did it. So they do not belong on the field with you. So when I put these fours up, it represents the commitment, discipline, effort, and toughness that you put into this. That's going to give you the pride, which is the thumb, to stomp your opponent. That's what it means. And that's why it was so awesome. Because when I did that, the players understood that they went to a very dark place when there was no football. It was just grind. And your opponent did not do what you did. So that's why it was so awesome.
Well, Scott, in the, for my 2017 national championship book, you wrote the foreword for it. I don't know if you remember that, but you did.
I do remember that.
And in it, your theme was "Don't waste a failure."
Mm.
Okay, and Coach Saban and the team had adopted this mindset following the previous year's disappointing finish against Clemson in Tampa in the national championship game.
38-35.
Yeah. How does don't waste a failure apply to your life today?
Whew. Great question. I mean, I'm walking, living proof that recovery is real.
Yeah.
I'm walking, living proof that no matter what you're going through, no matter how hard it is, that if you just find the steps that are necessary, that you can get on the other side of it. That my failure, my setback, my recovery now is because of all of that. And I wouldn't change a thing because God's got me here for something. And I'm just eager every morning to find out what that is and just keep searching and keep talking and keep praying and keep asking for guidance. So I'm not going to waste my failure for sure.
Well, related to that, for athletes and coaches or even fans who are struggling, some of them silently, what would you say to them about taking that first step toward help?
It takes a lot of strength to ask for help. And you are not alone. I mean, when I say you're not alone, there are 23 million Americans in recovery. There's 48 million people in active addiction. So we're just trying to move the needle, right? Just trying to move the needle. But asking for help is the hardest, but yes, most courageous thing that you will ever do. And it's not going to be easy. You're going to go through this tough stuff, but it's better than living the lie that you're living today.
Well, along that line, tell us about your foundation.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
I started a nonprofit. You can find us at eliminatethewhisper.org. And some of the cool things that we're doing, trying to get Narcan. Narcan is what saved my life. But it's the nose. Basically, it's like Afrin. Trying to get a Narcan box everywhere there's a defibrillator or AED or fire extinguisher across the country. We're trying to get those set. And then the one I have the most pride in is the Purple Project. So Recovery Month is purple. And just like Susan G. Komen with breast cancer in pink in October, I'm trying to turn September purple. So if you go to eliminatethewhisper.org, you can buy purple gear for your cheerleaders, your volleyball team, your football players. They can get a purple ribbon. They can get purple wristband, purple mouthpiece, purple socks. But I'm trying to get the whole world to wear purple in the month of September. That's what my nonprofit's about.
So cool. And it's not going to be long. We all have the chance to wear purple and to celebrate recovery and celebrate second chances. But let's talk about the book right now. Again, hit it with us. Hold it up again. Hold it up. Come on.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. I just got it, the copy of it. I'm very proud of it. It's called Skull Session. Get it wherever you buy books. Amazon's got it. It comes out August 19th. Get your pre-order now. Check it out. It's got
we'll put that, bringing a project like that to fruition. And so we're proud for you and can't wait to get our hands on a copy and be able to enjoy it. So, all right. So we're going to plow through some speed round stuff here. So here we go. First of all, favorite memory of Bryant-Denny Stadium?
The fans. Are you kidding? Every game. The fans. Favorite memory. Come on. I mean, the fans were awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one. The national championship team you were most proud of at Alabama.
2009. Because they had to believe when there was no proof. They had to believe when there's no proof.
All right. So who was the strongest player that you ever coached at Alabama?
Deron Payne. Jesse Williams. Julio Jones is crazy. Derrick Henry, crazy strength. OJ Howard, crazy strength. I mean, there's a bunch. Come on now. That's a tough one. That is a tough one.
How about the fastest player you ever coached?
Golly. Most recent were my two at Georgia. I had a guy, Eric Stokes, and a guy, Campbell, that ran 4.2s. But Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith and Waddle and that crew was first.
All right. So here we're going to wind it up. Favorite Nick Saban story
Oh, wow.
that you can tell?
Yeah, that I can tell. Man, this is what the fans need to know is that he cared about the kids more than you would ever imagine. That their success off the field is way more important than the championships. The championships are great, but their success off the field really means something to Coach. It means something to all of us. But that was the thing about Coach that he instilled in me. That's why, I want kids at West Alabama to have a taste of that, to understand, like, if you come through a program, if you come through West Alabama, just like when you came through Alabama, you're going to leave a better man, better one day father, husband, and just citizen than you did coming in. That's what Coach was about. That's where everybody gets it messed up. They think that he was hard driven to win championships. No, he was hard driven so that the kids could see that the attention to details every day, not just on Saturday, every day, Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday, mattered. That the details really matter. And that's why you see a lot of success, because guys get out of bed and go to work every day.
And you've got a lot of Alabama guys helping you do that, right? On your
Oh,
staff.
yeah.
Tell us about that. Who all you got?
All right. So Damian Square does my D-line. Blake Sims is my wide receivers coach. Ronnie Clark is my running backs coach. Thomas Fletcher is my special teams coordinator. A guy named Jonathan Morrison was a walk-on for us. He is offensive assistant. Player development, O.J. Howard. Assistant player development, Reggie Ragland.
Wow.
High school relations, Bo Scarborough. And I'm pretty sure Reuben Foster and Chance Warmack and DJ Fluker and Maury Smith are on their way.
That's awesome.
You're pretty sure, huh?
Well, Scott, we can't wait to watch what you guys are doing at West Alabama and to cheer with you. But most of all, man, we're just cheering with you in where you are in life and what God's doing in your life, and can't wait to see how God continues to use this for your good and for the good of a lot of other people, but ultimately for His glory.
Yes. Amen. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Well,
Buy my book. Skull
That's right.
Session. Skull Session.
so go out there and get it. Check the show notes.
Well, I'm going to come find you. How about that?
There you go.
Scott, can I get an
You
autograph
got
copy?
it. You wouldn't
Okay.
write on that ugly mug?
That's
Got
right.
it.
Oh my gosh. Let me
Wouldn't
see
that
that
big? That's a
again.
big, ugly picture of me. Boy,
Golly,
Yeah.
Bob, is that you?
That's
Good
me.
grief.